It began with a daring idea that many believed was madness: to sail into unknown oceans, through uncharted waters, and around the entire planet, guided only by stars, courage, and ambition. A journey where failure meant starvation, mutiny, or death, and success meant rewriting human history forever. This was the legendary voyage of Ferdinand Magellan. Born in Portugal, Magellan was trained as a sailor and navigator from a young age, serving in Asian and African expeditions, learning the secrets of winds, currents, and navigation. But after falling out of favor with the Portuguese king, he made a bold decision that would change his life. He offered his services to Portugal's rival, Spain, proposing an ambitious plan to reach the rich Spice Islands by sailing west instead of east. At the time, spices like cloves and nutmeg were more valuable than gold, and whoever controlled their trade controlled immense wealth and power. And in 1518, the Spanish king accepted Magellan's proposal, giving him 5 ships, limited resources, and permission to attempt one of the most dangerous voyages ever imagined. On September 20, 1519, Magellan's fleet set sail from Sanlúcar de Barrameda, carrying about 270 men into the Atlantic, their ships cutting through waves toward lands no European had fully mapped, while families watched from shore, unsure if they would ever see their loved ones again. The fleet crossed the Atlantic and reached the coast of South America, where months were spent searching desperately for a hidden passage to the Western Ocean, sailing through icy winds, dangerous storms, and unfamiliar waters, while hunger, cold, and fear slowly weakened the crew. During the harsh winter of 1520, tensions exploded into open mutiny as several captains rebelled against Magellan's authority, believing the journey was doomed. But Magellan responded with ruthless determination, crushing the rebellion, executing leaders, and restoring control, proving that only absolute discipline could keep the expedition alive. After endless searching, the impossible finally happened. In October 1520, the fleet discovered a narrow, twisting waterway at the southern tip of South America, a dangerous maze of cliffs, currents, and fog, now known as the Strait of Magellan, the long-sought gateway to the unknown Western Ocean. Navigating this passage took more than a month, with freezing winds and hidden rocks threatening to destroy the ships at any moment. And during this time, one vessel deserted and returned to Spain, reducing the fleet even further. When the remaining ships finally emerged from the strait, they entered a vast, calm, and seemingly endless ocean, which Magellan named the Pacific Ocean, unaware that it would become the most terrifying stage of the journey. For more than 3 months, the fleet sailed without seeing land, drifting across empty horizons under burning sun and silent skies. As food ran out, water became rotten, and sailors were forced to eat rats, leather, and sawdust to survive. Scurvy spread through the crew, gums bled, bodies weakened, and men died slowly in their hammocks, while survivors wondered if the ocean would ever end, turning the voyage into a floating nightmare of endurance and despair. In March 1521, after nearly collapsing from starvation, the fleet finally reached islands in Southeast Asia, bringing relief, fresh food, and hope. And soon after, Magellan arrived in the Philippines, where he formed alliances with local rulers and attempted to spread Christianity. In the island city of Cebu, Magellan converted local leaders and believed he had secured Spanish influence in the region, but his confidence would soon prove fatal. In April 1521, Magellan became involved in a local conflict on the island of Mactan, where he underestimated the strength of native warriors, and during a fierce beach battle, surrounded and wounded, he was killed, dying far from home, without ever knowing that his expedition would become legendary. With their leader gone, the surviving crew struggled to continue, suffering further losses from disease and conflict, until only 3 ships remained, and eventually just one, the Victoria, capable of continuing the journey. Command passed to the skilled navigator Juan Sebastián Elcano, who made the brave decision to complete the mission by sailing westward across the Indian Ocean and around Africa rather than returning the way they had come. The final stage was just as deadly as the first, as storms, starvation, and enemy patrols threatened to destroy the last ship, while exhausted sailors pushed themselves beyond human limits, driven by the desire to return home. After crossing the Indian Ocean, rounding the Cape of Good Hope, and slipping past Portuguese-controlled waters, the Victoria finally returned to Spain in September 1522, nearly 3 years after it had departed. Out of the original 270 men, only 18 survived, thin, sick, and broken, yet carrying proof that humanity had achieved the impossible, the first successful circumnavigation of the Earth. This voyage proved that the world was far larger than anyone imagined, that all oceans were connected, and that global travel, trade, and exploration were possible, laying the foundation for modern globalization. It transformed maps, science, navigation, and politics, opening new trade routes and changing how civilizations viewed their place on the planet. Although Magellan himself did not live to complete the journey, his vision made it possible, and his courage pushed humanity beyond fear and into a new age of discovery. From stormy seas to frozen straits, from empty horizons to foreign shores, from hunger and mutiny to triumph and legacy, this voyage remains one of the greatest adventures ever undertaken. It was not just a journey around the world, it was a journey that expanded the limits of human imagination, proving that with courage, discipline, and determination, even the most impossible dreams can become reality.